Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to make a blue monster out of Primo Sculpey. This video is a collaboration with TrenoNights. Alright, let's get started. Before I started filming, I went ahead and got my supplies ready, so I've got some tools, some foil, and the clay I want to use. So I am using Primo Opal and some Primo Blue. I believe it is the ultramarine blue. So I'm mixing those two together. I also have some Primo Green off to the side there. So I'm going to mix the blue and the opal together, and then I'm going to cover those foil balls. The first one, the bigger one's going to be for the body. And when I got this one covered, I realized it was too big, so I shrunk it down a little bit because I didn't think I'd have enough clay actually mixed up for it. So I shrunk it down, got that covered, and then I'm going to roll out for the legs. And you'll notice there that I cut them at an angle, and that way I can kind of use that angle for that inside seam there. And then I just attach the feet. And then add in some of the details. And then once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and run the wire through it for the arms. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want that arm to have some support while it bakes. So having that wire will help it from stop it, from drooping while it's baking. So I've got the arms on there, get them smoothed in place. Then I can start adding the fingers and toes. So with my little monsters, I usually just roll them up into balls and then attach them. And you want to put some pressure on when you put them on, but then I also take the ball tool and kind of just smooth it in a little bit, so that way it'll give it a little more stability after it's baked. It kind of blends those two together. I went ahead and used my thicker needle tool to make a hole in the top of the body so I could go ahead and insert a wire in there. So that way when I attach the head, it'll give it a little bit more stability. Anytime you attach like another piece onto an existing piece of clay, that's going to be the weak point. So sometimes I'll use some liquid clay to attach it, and sometimes I will, kind of put some pressure and maybe add a wire like I did with the arms and the head. So I went ahead and softened up my clay a little bit more and added that second foil ball for the head. And then you'll see off to the right there, I have a little pre-baked tooth that I'm adding. So I made this on a previous project when I made a bunch of teeth, so I have a bunch of those left over. So what's nice about that is the shape of that won't distort because it's already pre-baked, but it doesn't hurt it to bake it again. And then I went ahead and added the lip and the chin, and now I'm using the ball tool to make some sockets for the eyes. And I'm just using pearl beads for the eyes for this little guy because I thought that would look better than the darker ones. It's just kind of a preference at the time. And then I'm just using some little snakes of the clay to make little eyelids to go around that. Kind of make those eyes look a little more finished. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. It just depends when I'm making the monster how it looks and see if I'm happy with how the eyes look or if they need a little more to them. It also helps on making expressions if you want to make them look sad or angry to add those eyelids on there. So that's just a little tip for you there. So once I get those smoothed in and how I like them, I can go ahead and start adding some more details and get this attached. So you can see there, I kind of made an indentation with that thicker needle tool so that wire would guide in there. And then I just adjusted the head how I wanted it to sit on the body. Now I could go in and kind of touch up the details so he looks a little more finished. And I'm going to make his ears. So I'm just kind of making a diamond shape and cutting it in half. And then I'll use some of my tools to kind of make an indentation in those ears. So they kind of have that look at, not really gremlin ears, but similar to that. And then I just used the ball tool to kind of smooth the edges where it meets the head. And that way it'll kind of attach itself to it and kind of bond better while it bakes since it's kind of blended in there. Go ahead and give him a little belly button and kind of touch up his butt crack. So I'll just kind of go through, finish up the details. And one thing I wanted to mention, I don't always mention it, but I try to, is when I'm done with the color, like I'm done with this blue, go ahead and make sure you wash your hands so you don't get any of that color transfer. So although it only took a few seconds there, it was all sped up. So I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware. I didn't want you to work on something and like, oh, my blue's getting on my green, or my green's getting my blue, my red's on my white, you know. Yeah, make sure you clean your hands really good when switching colors. And you'll see here I had to kind of touch up a little bit there because I noticed one ear was not even, wasn't on the same spot as the other ear. So I did have to go in and touch that up before I could go back and finish up what I was going to do with the green. So I'm going to wash my hands again, and then I'll go in and start adding the details of the green. So with the green, what I'm doing is adding the toenails, and I'm going to add some horns. So I did do indentions in the feet, in the toes and the fingers where those toenails go, and then I just attach these little pieces. I just kind of make it so, you know, they go from bigger to smaller, you know, as you go out. So they kind of match up the toenails with the toes. Sounds pretty obvious, but just wanted to make sure you guys understood how I did it. Now the hands, they're all relatively about the same. Sometimes I'll do a monster with like kind of a bigger thumb, but with these 3 little digits or 3 fingers, they're roughly about the same size each, so I'm not too worried about it. And what works really well is once you get the shape, is I use my X-Acto knife to pick them up off the wax paper, and then my tools to pick it up and attach it and then kind of push it in, and then I go through and add some of the details. So with the head, I wanted to do 3 horns, so I did 3 indentions so they would kind of rest in there. And then I just shape them out. They're just kind of like a rhino horn where they're not straight. I want to give them kind of a curve. I thought it looked better. A lot of the stuff's just kind of personal preference as you're working on what you think looks good. Since these are my own creations, I don't have to worry about, you know, sticking with something that like is from pop culture and has to look a certain way. So now I'm just going to go through and add some more texture to him in different areas. And once I'm happy with him, I can start baking.
Now it's time to bake our clay. Remember, always bake your clay according to package instructions.
And here is the finished collaboration monster with TrenoNights. I'll let you get a better look at this little guy. He's got a lot of details on him. You can see the little specks from the opal clay. I think that really adds a lot to him. And you can see the detail I put in to his little toenails. You can see right there I've got little indentions, give him some wear. And he's got his nice pearl eyeballs and his little tooth. I just love their little tooth. He's got these pointed ears. And you can see his 3 horns. Also, like I do with most of my monsters, I give him a little butt crack. I think that always looks cute. He's even got a little belly button. I'll take a quick look to see how tall he is. So he's just under 3 inches to the top of that ear. Or he's about, maybe 7¼ centimeters tall. So now you're probably wondering, how is this a collaboration? Well, TrenoNights reached out to me and said that she wanted to do like an environment of where my monsters would live. So she wanted me to make a new monster and she would make its home. So I thought it would be neat, you know, something to share with you guys, like, you know, if you've ever imagined where these little critters live, and it's something I haven't given much thought, so I thought it'd be fun to see her interpretation of one of the homes for one of my little monsters. So be sure to check out her video, and it should be posted about the same time as this one, so it should be online now. So head over to her channel. I'll have a link down below. Make sure you watch her video. Please give it a like and subscribe to her channel. That'd be awesome. I had a lot of fun doing this collaboration with her, so hopefully we'll do several more in the future. If you have ideas for collaborations you'd like to see me do with TrenoNights, please leave it down in the comments below. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and remember, never stop creating. Bye.